Gentlemen, I have to warn you, what I'm about to say may shock you. Every single day, millions of men over 60 sit down to a meal believing they're eating healthy vegetables, when in reality, those very foods are quietly raising their blood sugar, stiffening their arteries, damaging their prostate, and even killing their erections. Yes, something as innocent as a side dish of corn or potatoes could be silently stealing your vitality. My name is Dr. Mohit Khera. I'm a urologist and men's health specialist, and for more than 30 years, I've worked with men in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond to restore their strength, protect their prostate, and bring intimacy back into their lives. I've seen firsthand what works, and more importantly, what doesn't. Here's the truth. Not all vegetables are created equal. Some you've trusted your whole life may actually be tearing down your health from the inside, while others hold the power to boost circulation, lower inflammation, and fuel the kind of energy and erections you thought were gone for good. That's why in today's talk, I'll reveal the 4 vegetables you should never eat if you want to stay strong, and the 4 powerful ones you must eat instead. These are simple swaps you can make starting today, and they can change the course of your health more than any pill or supplement. And stay with me until the very end, because the last vegetable I'll share may be the single most powerful food for circulation and male vitality after 60. You do not want to miss it. Before we get started, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another health tip designed especially for men over 60. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you find this video helpful, type 1. If you think I can do better, type 0 so I can keep improving these lessons for you. Now that you understand why not all vegetables are created equal, let's dive into the first one you should never eat. It's a food many of us grew up with, often found on dinner tables across America. Yet for men over 60, corn can quietly cause real harm. 1. Vegetable to avoid. Number 1. Corn. Let me start with a vegetable that almost every American man has eaten countless times throughout his life. Corn. Corn on the cob at family barbecues, buttered corn served at Thanksgiving, popcorn at the movies. It's been part of our culture for generations. I understand the nostalgia tied to it, because I grew up with the same traditions. My own father loved his corn on the cob in the summer, and back then we all thought it was one of the healthiest choices on the plate. But as I began to study men's health and the aging process, I discovered that corn, especially for men over 60, is not the friend we once believed it to be. In fact, it can be one of the most harmful so-called vegetables in your diet. Here's why. Corn is not like leafy greens or cruciferous vegetables that protect your blood vessels. Corn is extremely high in starch, and once that starch enters your body, it breaks down quickly into sugar. For a younger man with fast metabolism and resilient blood vessels, the damage may take years to show up. But for seniors, men whose circulation has already slowed and whose arteries may already be stiffening, that sugar surge can quietly wreak havoc. Blood sugar spikes trigger insulin, and repeated insulin spikes damage the delicate lining of the arteries. And remember this, an erection is nothing more than blood rushing into the penis. If the blood vessels are damaged, clogged, or stiff, that process becomes weaker and weaker until one day it fails altogether. Another issue with corn is its hidden presence. It's not just on your plate in the form of a side dish, it's in your snacks, in your drinks, and even in processed foods you don't think about. High fructose corn syrup, cornstarch, cornmeal, they sneak into your diet daily, raising your blood sugar without you even realizing it. This constant attack on your circulation is one of the silent killers of male vitality. I've seen men who never smoked, never drank heavily, but still struggled with fatigue, low testosterone, and erectile dysfunction simply because their diet was flooded with corn and its byproducts. And here's the part most men don't realize. Much of the corn grown in America is genetically modified and sprayed with powerful pesticides. These chemicals increase inflammation in the body. For a senior man, inflammation is already a major problem. It contributes to arthritis, prostate enlargement, heart disease, and yes, weaker erections. So when you combine the sugar load with the toxic exposure, corn becomes a double threat to your health. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you away from enjoying food. I'm telling you because I've sat across from too many men in my office who felt embarrassed, hopeless, or ashamed when their bodies didn't work the way they used to. And in many cases, the solution wasn't a new pill or another prescription. It was simply identifying foods like corn that were silently draining their strength and replacing them with foods that restore it. I've watched men take control of their diet, remove corn, and within weeks notice clearer thinking, stronger energy, and even firmer erections. That is the power of choosing the right vegetables. So while corn may hold warm memories from the past, the truth is, for men over 60, it's more like a sweet trap. And if corn is the first silent enemy hiding on your plate, wait until you hear about the next common vegetable, because chances are, it's sitting in your kitchen right now, and it's even more damaging to your blood sugar and your manhood than corn could ever be. 2. Vegetable to avoid. Number 2. Potatoes. Now let's talk about another vegetable that almost every American family has relied on for generations, the potato. It is hard to imagine a dinner table without it. Mashed potatoes at Thanksgiving, French fries with burgers, baked potatoes loaded with sour cream and cheese, these foods are comfort classics. I understand the emotional connection because I grew up with them too. I still remember sitting with my parents on a Sunday evening, the smell of roasted potatoes filling the house, and everyone smiling as the bowl was passed around. Back then, no one questioned whether potatoes were good or bad for us. They were simply part of the meal. But as I've seen time and time again in my medical practice, what feels comforting on the outside can quietly damage the inside, especially for men over 60. Here's the problem with potatoes. They are incredibly high in starch, and once that starch hits your system, it turns into sugar almost immediately. If you test blood sugar after eating a potato, you'll see a spike nearly as high as drinking a can of soda. That means your body is forced to produce a surge of insulin to bring that sugar back down, and over time, those repeated spikes and crashes wreak havoc on your blood vessels. For men past 60 who already face age-related stiffening of the arteries, this is dangerous territory. Erections depend on smooth blood flow, but if your arteries are inflamed, clogged, or less flexible, the blood can't get where it needs to go. And think about how potatoes are usually prepared. Rarely do we eat them plain. They're fried into French fries or chips, soaked in oil and sprinkled with salt. Or they're mashed with butter, cream, and more salt. Even a baked potato, which might seem healthier, usually ends up smothered in sour cream, bacon bits, and cheese. These additions layer on saturated fat, sodium, and cholesterol, turning an already starchy food into a cardiovascular time bomb. Over the years, I've had patients who swore they didn't eat sweets, but when we traced their diet, potatoes were their hidden sugar source, and their waistlines, energy levels, and erections suffered because of it. There's also the emotional side I want to acknowledge. Food is about more than nutrition. It's about family, memories, and tradition. I've seen men hesitate when I suggest cutting back on potatoes because it feels like giving up a piece of their past. But here's what I tell them. You don't have to give up comfort. You just have to choose comfort that also heals your body instead of hurting it. And when men make that change, I've seen incredible transformations. Their blood sugar steadies, their energy rises, and yes, their sexual health improves. All from removing one common food that was silently working against them. So if corn was the first silent saboteur hiding on your plate, potatoes are its dangerous partner, sweet in memory but harmful in reality. And if you think that's surprising, just wait until you hear about the next vegetable. It's something that often comes in a can, something many seniors grew up with, and it might be quietly raising your blood pressure and draining your strength more than you realize. 3. Vegetable to avoid. Number 3. Canned peas. When I bring up peas in conversations with my patients, many of them smile and say, "Oh, doctor, I've been eating those since I was a kid." And they're right. Peas, especially canned peas, have been a staple in American kitchens for decades. I remember visiting my grandmother's house when I was little, and she always had a few cans of peas tucked away in her pantry. They were cheap, convenient, and she thought she was doing something healthy for the family. Back then, canned vegetables were seen as the smart, practical choice. But what we didn't know then is how different canned peas are from the fresh, vibrant food they once were. For men over 60, they can quietly do more harm than good. Here's the truth. Canned peas are packed with sodium and preservatives. The process that makes them shelf-stable strips away much of their natural vitamins, leaving behind a food that is less nourishing and more harmful than many realize. Excess sodium may not sound like a big deal, but in the body of an older man, it can be devastating. Sodium causes your body to retain water and raises your blood pressure. Over time, high blood pressure stiffens your arteries, strains your heart, and chokes off circulation to your most vital organs, including your penis. I've seen so many men come into my office worried about their sexual health, only to discover the real issue wasn't testosterone at all, it was blood pressure. Erections are simply blood-filling tissue. If that blood flow is squeezed and restricted, the result is frustration, disappointment, and often embarrassment. And let's not forget what happens to taste and texture. Canned peas lose their natural sweetness and firmness. What you're left with is something mushy, oversalted, and lacking in vitality. In many ways, it's symbolic. They look like the vegetable you remember, but they no longer have the same life in them, just as many men over 60 feel they no longer have the same life in their bodies. But the good news is, unlike canned peas, you can restore your strength and vitality with the right choices. I've sat with men who grew up in tough times, when canned food was all they could afford. For them, opening a can of peas was a reminder of survival, of providing for their families. I respect that deeply, but I also remind them, you've worked hard your whole life, and now you deserve food that truly nourishes you. You don't need to rely on canned shortcuts anymore. Your body needs fresh, healing nutrients, not preservatives that silently drain your health. And when men finally make the switch, choosing fresh greens or healthier vegetables instead of canned peas, they often notice their energy coming back, their blood pressure stabilizing, and yes, even their erections improving. So while canned peas may feel like a comfort from the past, for men today, they're a reminder that convenience often comes with a hidden cost. And if you think canned peas are surprising, just wait until we talk about the next vegetable. It's one that looks healthy, is praised in many diets, but for older men, it can quietly worsen inflammation and even increase the risk of painful kidney stones. 4. Vegetable to avoid. Number 4. Eggplant. Eggplant often surprises people when I mention it on this list. Many men look at me with disbelief and say, "Doctor, isn't eggplant supposed to be part of a healthy Mediterranean diet?" And yes, it's true. Eggplant looks vibrant with its deep purple skin, and it's featured in dishes like eggplant parmesan or ratatouille that many of us have enjoyed. I can even recall my own first taste of grilled eggplant at a friend's summer cookout. It looked beautiful on the plate, and I remember thinking at the time that it had to be healthy simply because it was a vegetable. But over the years of practicing medicine, I've learned that appearances can be deceiving, especially when it comes to what happens inside the aging male body. The hidden problem with eggplant is that it belongs to the nightshade family of vegetables. Nightshades, which also include tomatoes and peppers, contain certain compounds that can aggravate inflammation in sensitive individuals. And for men over 60, inflammation is already one of the biggest battles. It shows up as stiff joints, aching muscles, prostate swelling, and clogged arteries. When inflammation is stirred up even further by foods like eggplant, the pain gets worse, recovery slows down, and circulation becomes weaker. That means more discomfort, more fatigue, and yes, weaker erections. Eggplant also contains oxalates. These are natural compounds that, in small amounts, may not be harmful, but in larger amounts, or in older men who already have reduced kidney function, oxalates can increase the risk of kidney stones. And let me tell you, I've had patients who suffered through kidney stones in their 70s, and it is one of the most painful experiences a man can endure. The sharp, stabbing pain, the difficulty passing urine, it robs you of your dignity and your strength. And when your kidneys are under stress, your entire body feels it. Everything from your energy levels to your blood pressure to your ability to maintain an erection is affected. I share this not to scare you, but to be honest with you. I've treated too many men who thought they were doing everything right, eating vegetables and trying to stay healthy, only to find out the foods they chose were quietly contributing to their decline. Eggplant isn't the most dangerous food in the world, but for older men already dealing with inflammation, circulation issues, or kidney risks, it is not the ally it appears to be. And that's the critical lesson here. Not every vegetable is good for every stage of life. What may be fine for a younger man in his 30s could be harmful for a man in his 60s or 70s whose body demands different care. So while eggplant may look beautiful and feel exotic, it can quietly add fuel to the fire of inflammation and kidney stress that so many older men already face. But here's the good news. For every vegetable that works against you, there is one that can work for you. And in the next part, I'll share one of the most powerful allies you can put on your plate. A cruciferous vegetable that doesn't just fight inflammation, but actively protects your prostate and helps support testosterone naturally. 5. Vegetable to eat. Number 1. Broccoli. Now that we've talked about the vegetables you should avoid, let's shift the focus to the foods that can truly work for you. And at the top of that list is one that might not seem glamorous, but in my years of practice, I've come to see it as a quiet hero for men over 60. Broccoli. I know what you might be thinking. Broccoli? Really? The same vegetable that kids push around their plates and sometimes refuse to eat? Yes, that's the one. But here's the difference. What you might have disliked as a child could very well be the food that saves your strength, your vitality, and even your manhood as an older man. I still remember the first patient who told me he had added broccoli to his meals almost every day. He was in his late 60s, frustrated by fatigue, struggling with his prostate, and worried about his intimacy. He said, "Doctor, I just wanted to try something simple before giving up." After several months, his blood work looked better, his energy was higher, and even his confidence with his partner had returned. Of course, broccoli wasn't the only change he made, but it was one of the most important. And here's why. Broccoli is part of the cruciferous family of vegetables, which also includes cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, and kale. But broccoli in particular contains a powerful compound called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane helps your body detoxify harmful substances, lowers inflammation, and protects cells from damage. For men over 60, this is critical because inflammation is at the root of so many problems: joint pain, heart disease, prostate enlargement, and erectile dysfunction. By lowering inflammation, broccoli helps keep your blood vessels more flexible and your circulation stronger. And remember, erections are all about blood flow. Another hidden benefit of broccoli is its impact on hormones. As men age, testosterone tends to decline, and estrogen can creep up. Broccoli contains natural compounds that help rebalance this ratio, supporting healthy testosterone levels. I've had patients tell me they feel sharper, more energetic, and more masculine after regularly including broccoli in their diet. That's not a coincidence. It's your body responding to the natural support that this humble green vegetable provides. And let's not forget about the prostate. Prostate health is one of the biggest concerns for older men, and broccoli has been shown in multiple studies to protect against enlargement and even lower the risk of prostate cancer. Think about that for a moment. A simple, affordable vegetable, something you can pick up at any grocery store, has the power to safeguard one of the most vulnerable parts of your body as you age. Broccoli is also versatile. You can steam it, roast it, sauté it with a little garlic, or even add it to soups and casseroles. The key is consistency. Eating broccoli once in a while won't transform your health, but making it a regular part of your weekly meals absolutely can. So yes, broccoli may not be flashy, but it's a true ally for men who want to age with energy, protect their prostate, and keep their erections strong. And if broccoli is the steady protector, the next vegetable I'll share with you is more like nature's performance booster, loaded with compounds that directly increase blood flow and mimic the effects of medications, but in a natural and safe way. 6. Vegetable to eat. Number 2. Spinach. If broccoli is the steady protector of a man's health, then spinach is the energizer. This leafy green is one of the most powerful vegetables you can add to your diet, especially if you're over 60. I know spinach isn't always the most exciting choice. Many of us remember it from childhood as a slimy pile on the plate, something we had to choke down before we could be excused from the dinner table. I remember my own parents insisting I finish every bite, and I'll admit, I wasn't a fan back then. But as a doctor who has spent decades studying male vitality, I can tell you that what we resisted in our youth may be the very thing that keeps us strong in our later years. The magic of spinach lies in its natural nitrates. When you eat spinach, those nitrates are converted by your body into nitric oxide, a compound that relaxes your blood vessels and allows more blood to flow freely. And what are erections at the most basic level, if not blood-filling tissue? Without enough nitric oxide, circulation slows, arteries tighten, and performance declines. But with it, the body regains that vital flexibility. I've had men tell me that after just a few weeks of adding spinach to their diet, their blood pressure improved, their energy picked up, and intimacy with their partner became more satisfying again. That's not coincidence, it's physiology. Spinach also delivers magnesium, a mineral that many older men are deficient in without realizing it. Magnesium helps regulate blood sugar, supports muscle and nerve function, and plays a role in hormone balance. It reduces fatigue and eases tension, which is why many patients describe feeling calmer and more energetic at the same time when they eat it regularly. On top of that, spinach is loaded with iron, folate, and antioxidants, nutrients that fuel your red blood cells and keep your heart pumping strong. For a man past 60, this combination is like giving your body fresh oil and a tune-up after years of wear and tear. What I love about spinach is its flexibility. You can blend it into a smoothie, add it to a salad, saute it lightly with olive oil, or stir it into a soup. It doesn't have to be overwhelming or unpleasant. In fact, when prepared right, it can be delicious. And here's something powerful to remember. One serving of spinach is enough to begin increasing nitric oxide levels in your blood. That means even small, consistent changes can have a real impact on your vitality. I often remind men who come to see me that the path back to confidence doesn't always start with a prescription. It can start with a simple choice at the grocery store. And spinach, humble as it may seem, is one of the clearest, fastest ways to improve circulation naturally. So yes, spinach may have been the villain of your childhood dinner table, but today it could be the very thing that restores your energy and helps you reclaim the intimacy you thought was slipping away. And if spinach works quietly behind the scenes to fuel your blood flow, the next vegetable is more like a purifier, flushing out what harms you, balancing your pressure, and preparing your body for stronger health in ways that most men completely overlook. 7. Vegetable to eat. Number 3. Asparagus. There's something almost elegant about asparagus. Those long green spears often show up in springtime, and for many, they carry a sense of celebration. I remember one of my patients telling me how every Easter his wife would roast asparagus with just a little olive oil and lemon, and it became a tradition in their home. What he didn't realize until much later, after we talked in my office, was that his wife had been giving him one of the best gifts possible for his health all along. Because asparagus is not just a tasty side dish, it is one of the most powerful vegetables a man over 60 can put on his plate. The first thing asparagus does is act like a natural purifier. It works as a gentle diuretic, which means it helps your body get rid of excess salt and water. Now, you might think that's a small thing, but for older men, it's enormous. Excess salt builds up in your system, raising your blood pressure and straining your heart. And when your blood pressure climbs, your arteries stiffen, and blood flow to the penis decreases dramatically. I cannot tell you how many men have come to me frustrated with their intimacy, only to discover their biggest problem wasn't low testosterone at all. It was high blood pressure. And asparagus is one of nature's simplest tools to help bring that pressure down. Asparagus is also loaded with vitamin K, a nutrient that keeps your blood vessels healthy and reduces the risk of dangerous clots. It helps maintain smooth circulation, which is absolutely essential for strong erections. Alongside vitamin K, asparagus provides folate, a B vitamin that supports brain health and cardiovascular strength. For men past 60, these aren't just numbers on a nutrition chart. They translate directly into feeling sharper, having steadier energy, and enjoying a healthier heart. I've had men tell me they were surprised at how quickly they noticed a difference after adding asparagus to their weekly meals. One gentleman in his 70s shared that within a month he was sleeping better, walking with more energy, and even felt his confidence return in the bedroom. He laughed when he said, "Doctor, I didn't think asparagus would do that for me, but my wife keeps buying it now." These stories remind me that small changes can have big rewards, especially when it comes to circulation and vitality. There's also something about asparagus that feels symbolic. The spears stand tall, strong, and upright, just the way most men want to feel. And while that may sound like a playful observation, it's a good reminder that what we put on our plate directly shapes how we feel in our bodies. Asparagus, with its cleansing, strengthening qualities, gives your system the support it craves. So if spinach is the quiet energizer, asparagus is the purifier, helping clear out what weighs you down and keeping your blood vessels flexible. And while it's powerful, the vegetable I'll share next is in a class of its own. It doesn't just support circulation, it supercharges it, flooding your body with oxygen-rich blood in a way that can transform your energy, stamina, and even your most private moments. 8. Vegetable to eat. Number 4. Beets. If there's one vegetable I call nature's performance booster for men over 60, it's the beet. At first glance, it doesn't look like much, just a rough, earthy root you might not think twice about when walking through the grocery store. But beneath that dark skin lies a powerful secret that can transform circulation, restore stamina, and give men back a confidence they thought was gone for good. I remember a patient in his mid-60s who was tired, discouraged, and worried about his performance. He had tried supplements, he had tried pills, but nothing seemed to last. I suggested something simple. Add roasted beets or even beet juice to his daily routine. When he came back 3 months later, he was a different man. His energy was up, his blood pressure was down, and the sparkle in his eye told me everything I needed to know. His private life had improved more than he ever expected. The magic of beets lies in their natural nitrates. Just like spinach, but in even greater amounts, beets flood your body with nitric oxide. This relaxes your blood vessels, allowing oxygen-rich blood to flow freely through your arteries, and that means more blood reaching your heart, your brain, your muscles, and yes, your penis. Erections depend entirely on healthy blood flow, and nitric oxide is the key that unlocks it. That's why athletes drink beet juice before competition. It gives them endurance, stamina, and strength. And for older men, that same effect can bring back vitality in the bedroom. Beets also contain betaine and antioxidants that help reduce inflammation and protect your liver. Many older men don't realize how much stress their liver has carried after decades of processed foods, alcohol, and medications. A tired liver means slower metabolism, lower energy, and weaker hormone balance. Beets help flush out toxins and support liver function, which in turn helps the whole body feel lighter and stronger. When your body works cleaner, your mood lifts, your energy improves, and your confidence grows. I also love how versatile beets are. You can roast them for a rich, sweet flavor, slice them thin in salads, blend them into smoothies, or drink them as juice. Even a few servings a week can make a noticeable difference. The deep red color of beets isn't just beautiful. It's a signal of their potency, packed with compounds that heal from the inside out. For years, I've watched men discover the benefits of beets and feel like they've unlocked a hidden secret. And the best part? It's not a drug, not a gimmick, not something expensive or complicated. It's simply a vegetable given to us by nature, waiting to restore what age has taken away. So while broccoli protects, spinach energizes, and asparagus purifies, beets supercharge. They send blood rushing where it needs to go, they strengthen your stamina, and they remind you that age does not have to mean decline. And now that you've heard about all 8 vegetables, the 4 to avoid and the 4 to embrace, it's time to put it all together. Because the way you eat from this day forward may decide not just how long you live, but how well you live. And in the conclusion, I'll show you exactly why these choices matter more than any pill or supplement ever could. 9. Conclusion. As we come to the end of this journey together, I want you to pause and think about what we've uncovered. We began by exposing 4 vegetables that so many of us grew up trusting: corn, potatoes, canned peas, and eggplant. They were there on our plates at family gatherings, holidays, and simple weeknight dinners. They carry memories, and I respect those memories deeply. But the truth is, for men over 60, these foods often work against you. Corn and potatoes flood your system with sugar that stiffens your arteries. Canned peas drown you in sodium that silently drives up your blood pressure. Eggplant, with its nightshade compounds and oxalates, can worsen inflammation and strain your kidneys. Each of them, in their own way, steals from you, steals your energy, your circulation, your strength, and even your intimacy. But we didn't stop there. I showed you the other side of the coin, the vegetables that don't take away but give back. Broccoli, the quiet protector, guarding your prostate and balancing your hormones. Spinach, the energizer, flooding your body with nitric oxide to restore smooth circulation. Asparagus, the purifier, gently lowering blood pressure and keeping your vessels flexible. And finally, beets, the supercharger, sending oxygen-rich blood where you need it most and reminding you that vitality doesn't vanish with age, it just needs the right fuel. When I think about the men I've worked with over the past 30 years, the ones who thrived the most were not always the ones who had the most money or the best access to healthcare or even the strongest willpower. They were the men who listened to their bodies, who were willing to make small, consistent changes, and who chose to believe that age was not the end of their story. I still remember one patient in his 70s who told me, with tears in his eyes, that after cutting out potatoes and adding spinach and beets to his diet, he not only regained his energy, but also his sense of dignity as a husband. That is the power of food. It is not just about calories or nutrients. It is about the life you want to live, the strength you want to feel, and the love you want to give. So I ask you now, what will you choose? Will you hold on to foods that belong in the past? Or will you embrace the vegetables that can carry you forward into a future of energy, confidence, and vitality? This is not about perfection. It's about progress. Every meal is an opportunity. Every plate is a chance to either move closer to health or further away from it. And the beautiful truth is, you have the power to decide. If you take nothing else from today, remember this: your best years do not have to be behind you. With the right choices, with the right foods, you can feel strong again. You can protect your heart, your prostate, and your erections. You can live not just longer, but better. And that, my friends, is the gift I want you to take from this conversation. The gift of hope, of possibility, and of a body that still has so much life left in it.